Hi, welcome to our Bonfire night hangout. We thought we'd get together and just chat about some of the things that we do with our kids and our family in the kind of weeks and days leading up to Bonfire night and afterwards. We've got here today, we've got Ali, Liz and Maggie, and Kelly may join us later. She's a bit late at the moment. Anyway, so I thought I'd start off and talk about what age your kids were when you actually introduced them to fireworks and took them out to any events, or if you did anything in the garden. And for me, mine were actually quite old before we took them out, mainly because they used to go to bed really early. So they were in bed by 5:30, 6 o'clock. So there was no way that I was going to be able to take mine out and get them to stay up. And, yeah, we were 12 till 12. They were up early as well, though. So what we did is we started doing little things in the garden. So we would buy our own little fireworks, and just me, Dad, and the kids would light them and set them off, and then they could go to bed. And we didn't do many either because we just light a few and they'd watch it. So I would probably say mine were about five, six before we actually took them out to a kind of proper event, I would say. And the first experience was awful because it was raining and damp, and they whinged and they grizzled all the way through it. So and we ended up leaving probably within 15, 20 minutes of that happening. And what age were your guys when you took them?
Mine were probably smaller than that, and having 2 years apart, mine were probably 4 and 2. But I think that my advice for that would be to go to smaller events, because having been to quite a big event in Wimbledon, I think it was just too overwhelming for them. I think the smaller the better when they're little.
And also, I guess they've got to get used to the whole darkness and spookiness of it. I mean, we're like Anthea. We used to, part of our antenatal group, we did our own little thing in the garden. So one of the mums organised getting hold of basically some small fireworks. And we did that from very early on. And we did it very much, I think, more for us than for the children, because we felt we didn't want to miss out. And then we'd have like some little drinks and some nibbles at our friend's house, and we'd have set them off. And then as the kids got older and it was a bit more chaotic, we went to the park and did our own mini version. But now I think, like with yours, Anthea, my eldest is now coming up to 6, and I think they're ready to maybe give it a go and see if we're ready to do a big event.
We've always gone
What do you
out
do,
to
Liz?
them. Yeah, we've always gone out to fireworks ever since she was tiny. We lived in a very sort of multicultural area, so there were fireworks going off, pretty much all year round. Some celebration or whatever. So I remember taking her in her pram, and she was looking up at the sky, and she loved it. And then she went through a phase, probably when she was about 2, that she was frightened of them and the noise. But now she's fine again now. So
also, Anthea, I think what's good in preparation for them to go, like, say, the following year is, like, last year we spent a lot of time looking out of the window and talking about fireworks and talking about what the noise is and the colours and stuff. So I think with mine especially, kids can get frightened of stuff. So I think it's worth sort of explaining to them what's going on. And from the window, it's not so noisy. So it's that sort of safety of understanding what a firework is. And then this year, when we do go, the noise won't be as overwhelming because they're looking forward to the colour, if that makes sense.
We had some ear defenders when the smallest was really young, and they're quite fun.
No, agree. I mean, we've got ear defenders that we've had, and they're really useful because we take them to festivals as well, and when there's music and stuff, so we take them out, and sometimes they put them on, and they keep their ears warm as well.
Yeah,
which is quite good. So you can kind of stop.
Ear muffs.
Yeah. Every family should have them. That'll be. I mean, we've just started going to school ones. We haven't done anything massively big because I always get a bit worried as well because it's dark that you're going to lose them. So we kind of stick little name tags on their wrists as well, and I make sure now that they know their phone number. And we have a kind of a meeting point that we go to, as and we talk about if you get lost. This is where you need to go. Don't come looking for us. Sit down and don't move. Basically, is what our kind of mantra is.
Yeah.
We've got ours memorised my phone number now, so that we don't need to write it on their arms anymore.
Yeah, that's what I do. And I read somewhere, which sounded like a good idea, we haven't tried it yet, that if you take a photo of your child as you're going out, because if you lose your child, you know what their panic's like, and you can't remember what coat did they have or what pair of trousers.
Brilliant idea.
Yeah,
take a photo on your camera and then on your phone, and then obviously at big events, everybody's on social media, and it's just out there straight away.
Yeah, good idea, good idea. I know, because my twins, I don't ever dress them the same normally, but when we go to really big events, we'll put something on that's the same. So we'll kind of put a top on that's the same. They might have different trousers, and because they're identical, I can say,
Look
look like this. And that was a real top tip I learnt from another twin mum, which was I was like, okay, this is the one time when them looking the same and being dressed the same is quite a handy thing. So do you do anything food-wise? So, for example, we kind of tend to do like we'll make a big chili dip or something and some jacket potatoes, or we'll even do a soup in a mug. My girls love it when we do it at home, and we kind of like take the mug outside and they have soup and they sit out there dipping their bread and watching the fireworks that Dad does while they're eating kind of like soup, and they help to get it all ready. They choose their mugs and they get all their clothes and their welly boots lined up, and it becomes quite a little kind of routine that they do. Okay, we've got the fireworks, they know what to do now, and they get everything ready. It's a sense of
occasion, isn't it? It's a little sense of occasion, which is, I mean, I think with all these things, it's all about family traditions and people looking for, I think anticipation is such a lovely part of the event itself. So I think all that sort of setting up is a really nice idea, Anthea, definitely.
Oh, I get so excited, and we have little like outside lights, and sometimes if we're brave, we'll put the little candles up there. It's and what have we bought this year? Oh, this year we've got some of them. Not we've got much sun, but they're kind of solar lights that you can put in trees. So they light it up for the first half hour now because it gets dark really early.
I can show you some of my foodie treats, and the reason I like these, I mean, they're very sort of common, or they're very popular in the US. These are called edible fireworks, and they're basically chocolate fingers melted a little bit in hot water and then dipped into sprinkles.
Oh, love those.
I made these yesterday with my daughter, and here's some sort of like bronzy sprinkles, and she loved it, and I was actually surprised. I've never made these before because I just thought, well, but if you're having a little party or you're going to a party or an event, it's nice to bring these. And she's almost 4, and literally she could make these, and she really enjoyed making them, obviously because it's chocolate. But the ones I like best are these ones. They don't look as good, these ones. But this is popping candy. So you stick it in your mouth, and then edible sparklers suddenly have a purpose. Because before I was all like, well, I mean, yes, it's fun for the kids and it's a nice little thing to bring, and but the popping candy ones are really fun. But I haven't quite worked out yet. It'd be really nice if I could kind of get another layer on top to make it look pretty and sparkly as well. But the popping bit is really fun. So she really enjoyed making those, and they were really easy. And you can also make them with breadsticks, where you sort of dip it in some chocolate first and then dip that into your sprinkles. But that's obviously messy and a bit trickier because you have to get the chocolate to start to set a bit. But the chocolate finger ones are so easy, really easy, and great for a little girl to take part. And then also,
good to take out, wouldn't they, as well? Like if you're going out, just to take out and keep with you, because they get kind of hungry, and so you can give them a little chocolate fix, little sugar fix while they're out.
Definitely. Yeah. And if we're at home, this is quite sort of a German. I know you get baked apples everywhere, obviously, but this one to me is more Germanic. I don't know, because I don't know what the British baked apples are like.
From your own history.
Yes. So basically, you just get an apple corer, get the centre out, and then we stuffed it. This particular one I stuffed with raisins, a little bit of marzipan, a little bit of cinnamon, but you basically stuff it with what you want. I know people who stuff it with little bits of apricot or other dried fruit, and I also put a little bit of honey in this one, and then I just baked it in the oven for 20-30 minutes. I think this is quite nice if you've got if you're doing something at home, or if you've got visitors or guests. And again, the kids can help with the stuffing. They quite enjoy the whole process of doing it. And you don't have to have it in an individual ramekin. You can, obviously put them in a big dish. Or, what I'd love to have a go, but we haven't done this yet, is wrap them in foil and stick them on a bonfire. So I reckon that'd be quite a fun way. Like the way you do the banana ones. Do these. Obviously, it's all a bit messier then, but then you've got that excitement of the bonfire and doing something with that. So we like healthy apple treats. Okay,
so is this where I talk about my non-healthy apples?
Yes.
Toffee apples. Oh goodness me, toffee.
Tom up again.
Okay, so.
Ears.
And they've got sprinkles. I don't think the sprinkles work so well, but anyway, there you go. They're not so healthy, are they? But that's, I had some leftover toffee. Now, you can see, and you can hear it crack. Hang on.
Wow.
So but I've tried it, and it really sticks to your teeth. So that's one of those, you've got to make sure they brush their teeth up when they don't keep them out too late. But they're really nice to have if you're having it at home. I think,
By the way, I'm going to start eating.
What are you eating your apple? There's no way I'm eating my apple.
Blimey, that's
Maybe
okay.
later.
I tell you what I was reading, because the thing about having bonfires at home is that sometimes you don't have a garden. So my old house, for example, we probably wouldn't have even been able to light fireworks because it's in an old town and all the houses are built up around. So we'd have probably just set somebody's house on fire. Whereas we can do it now, although we have to be careful because next door's got chickens, so we kind of get worried about frightening the chickens, and we get bring all our cats in and lock the doors.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I was doing some because we've got one. I can never pronounce it. Is it a chimney or something? You know, the outdoor wood stoves that you can buy to heat the heaters.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Yeah. Was it a chimney?
That's how I say it.
Chimenea or something. Chimenea.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Chimenea, there we go. And I was having a look, and you can cook with those really easily. And you could buy specific things. Some people make grills or to put in, so you can put them on the top, so you can actually use them as a smoker. So if you get some hickory chips and put it in the bottom, you can drop like bits of fish and meat in the top, and you can kind of steam it really easily and just hang it off your grills. And then you can also put the wire meshes in the main bit as well. I mean, I've not thought, oh, that's fantastic. All we ever do is get some marshmallows and.
Yeah, I was about to say I might just stick to marshmallows.
But Anthea, I think there's something to be said about keeping it simple, and sometimes you can overthink these things, and I think about family traditions also. If you overcomplicate it, then you as a parent are less likely to have a go at it, if that makes sense. Because each year you're like, oh, bonfire night's coming. Oh no, I've got to buy this.
Oh yeah.
You put yourself under a lot of pressure, and the kids, like you say, the marshmallows or the apples or whatever. If I think it's also just about keeping it simple and making it fun. And the kids, they love marshmallows, don't they? But I do agree. I mean, that sounds amazing. But you could do that as a one-off or whatever.
Oh yeah. We kind of you seem to add each. I don't know about you, but each year you kind of do something just slightly different. Yes,
which makes it a bit more interesting as well, doesn't it? But I think food-wise, definitely comfort food. The chili con carne on baked potatoes, or a stew or a soup. I think definitely those warm, hearty things.
Make a soup. You make a big carrot soup. Kids really love that, bizarrely. So yeah, it's delicious.
And it's orange.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. It's like the hang-on from pumpkins. Yeah, that whole orange thing.
So do you buy fireworks? Because I mean, one of the things we've learned is when we were young. We were younger. Obviously, we're aged now. But when the kids were really young, when you started buying fireworks, and I'm quite nervous around fireworks. So it was all done with Mr. Dad. He kind of went out and he had all the plant pots filled with earth and rocks to stop them, and he stuck in bits of wood, and they used to love them. And then as they've got older, they're kind of not interested in the little ones. So what we found is that we have to kind of buy less of them, but more expensive ones, because they're kind of not interested in watching the little ones that go and die. They want something that goes woo and explodes up in the sky.
Yeah,
why doesn't that surprise me, Anthea, with you as a mum?
We don't buy fireworks. I just think they're so ridiculously expensive, and like you say, they're such an anticlimax if you've seen a professional display. So we'd rather just buy a ticket and go to a display.
Yeah, we have the group ones. I mentioned the antenatal ones, Mother, but I mean maybe that'll stop at some point, I don't know, but I think we're thinking about going for the first time. And Ali, don't you have stories about home fireworks?
Well, yeah, I mean,
safety is a big thing about home fireworks.
Yeah, I'm with you, Anthea, about the sort of more spectacular the better as they get older, but having quite a small garden, that can be quite limiting and dangerous, and both myself and my son have been hit by fireworks. Myself when I was an art student in someone's back garden, and then 2 years ago, we had a firework that fell over and shot down the garden and hit him in his thigh, and he had a big circular bruise on his thigh for about 2 weeks.
Wow. You're lucky it was worse.
Yeah,
so
no,
really
you're right. I've been, I was hit when I was at uni, so we went to what the uni put on an event, so it was quite a big one, but and I'm quite sure did a geology degree, so I was with all these guys and taller than me, and firework went in the wrong direction and ended up hitting me behind the ear. And I didn't go the next year, and then I went in the third year, and the same thing happened. Firework came at me, and I had to get pulled out the way. So I'm like, I feel like I had this attraction.
We stand behind the French windows now. We stand behind the French windows to watch them if they're in the garden now. It's just can't risk it.
Yeah, no, mine have to be at the bottom of the steps, and they kind of have to, the fireworks are all at the top, out of the way.
Yeah, it's definitely safety. So I think if people are doing it at home, I mean, the things to remember is, like you say, is if you're using bottles, is to bury them so they're not likely to topple, you know, to really secure your wooden post. I mean, I just feel sorry for the fire brigade at this time of year because there's so many things that happen. It's even with sparklers. I mean, we love sparklers, but I'm very sort of not nervous, but obviously very, I always instill in the children how careful that once it stops sparkling, you know, they have to give it to mummy, or, you know, they're just not allowed to touch anything without asking first, because obviously
we have a bucket of cold water, Maggie.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yes,
straight in the bucket of cold water.
Perfect. Yeah, because I mean, our sparklers are lovely, but you have to be so careful with them, don't you? Just burnt fingers and whatnot.
Yeah. We kind of, I'm like you, I'm not keen on them, so we sort of tend to use the indoor ones, so they don't get to touch them, but we'll kind of like have little cakes or put them in sandwiches so that they can kind of get a little bit of a kind of
That's a nice
fun out
idea,
of it.
definitely.
But I don't have to freak out at the thought of them doing something silly while they're writing their name and forgotten that their sister's next to them.
Yes.
It'll be and what about clothes? Because my thing is that the weather, I don't know what it's like where you are, but we have such changeable weather at this time of year. It can be like really boiling one evening and then it can be blowing a gale, which is what it's likely to do over the next few days down here, and it's freezing cold, and it kind of like the kids, as they get tired, they get more cold as well. So it's kind of, so what we tend to do is do like lots of layers. So they'll have a vest and a t-shirt and another layer and then a cardigan. And my top tip is picnic blankets.
Okay.
Because they're plastic underneath, so we take them for them to wrap around them, because the plastic on the outside, and it stops the wind if it's nasty, and they're also a little bit waterproof if it does decide to kind of drizzle down, which is highly likely.
I like that, Anthea. Clever you.
Years of practice of miserable kids, 3 of them. That'll be and okay, and I suppose the last thing, of course, which is we don't tend to do much of, actually, we do a little bit, is kind of crafts to do with bonfires. And you know, do any of you do anything like that at home?
Well, the main thing for us, if I can go first because I'm like that, bonfire night coincides with a German tradition that we do, which is called St. Martin's Day, where you make lanterns. So for us, that's a kind of really nice double up, because you know, again, if it's at home, we had to go at the making sort of the old tin can lantern, which actually the kids love. And these are good for outside, because obviously you can put real candles in because it's of the metal, or if it's indoors. Indoors we tend to use the electric tea lights sort of thing. But you know, if they're outside, and the kids really enjoyed the process of having a go. I mean, it was very tricky for them because only 4 and 6, but they still liked taking part.
How did you clamp it down in the end, Maggie?
Well, very unsafely. We had one person holding the little pin, and the third one hammering. So it was a team effort. It was a team effort. But actually, it went all right, and we didn't have any injuries. I mean, it's like all these things, you have to be careful. But you know, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Pinterest. I mean, I know a lot of the Americans are, and there's this thing called Pinterest fail, where people say, "Oh, but this is so easy. You just take the nail and the hammer." And anyway, I just wanted to show this tin. It got really squashed. Where I tried to do the heart. And just for those out there who go, I could never do it, some tins are easy, some tins are not. Just try a different tin if you're going to do this. And,
did you fill them with frozen water beforehand, or did you just do the
No, we just literally just went for it. I mean, I guess the frozen water would stop it sort of crumpling. But to be honest, I mean, it's recycled. I'm going to just stick this in the bin.
I think your metal's causing interference, Maggie. You've gone all robotic.
I'm going to put them away then. I'll put them up here. But I mean, the other ones, which are a bit more sort of dear and fragile, sort of some leaf
give
lanterns.
your mic a tap. You sound like a metal Mickey.
But anyway, lanterns is my main craft for this time of year, and obviously there's the old sparkly pictures with glitter and stuff. But we don't do so much for bonfire night.
No.
Yeah, no, we don't do. We do the odd bit of, and it's mainly because of the year we do a lot of kind of silhouette stuff, you know, where we kind of do some silhouettes of houses, and they'll kind of like splatter some paint on the top and glitter, you know, because it's leading up to Christmas as well. So we start getting out the lovely glitter that we like, and I know Liz likes a bit of glitter.
Yeah, we don't do a lot. I think we get so kind of overwhelmed by Halloween crafts that by the time bonfire night comes along, we've kind of run out of enthusiasm. So just splatter paints and glitter, that's about as far as we go, I think. We don't tend to decorate the house like you do for Halloween, so I don't.
It's the same with Christmas, isn't it? You have lots of ideas for Christmas because you decorate, and you decorate for Halloween. But bonfire night it's more of one of those activities that you go on a Saturday and you go out, and so I don't think people should put themselves under pressure. I think the arty pictures are really good if you're trying to discuss with the children what's actually going on and why, and that gives you an opportunity to do it. But unless you're doing that for whatever reason, you know, the class, they do a lot of that in class as well, I guess. So.
Yeah, no. Well, I think that's a kind of, so my top tips would be really kind of chill out. If you don't want to go to a big event, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's kind of do something at home. Don't kind of go mad, you know. Headphones, good. Hats with ears, again, good. Gloves, picnic blanket. Don't forget your picnic blanket, and have some fun. Any other top? What are your top tips, Maggie? Before we sign off.
Like you say, keep it simple. You know, if you don't want to go look out the window, I do like to explain to people, my kids, why we're doing it. So I do talk about Guy Fawkes and what's behind it. But I think just there's so much going on. It's just about going and enjoying it. And if you do go to a big event, because I was talking to Ali about this, don't worry about the costs, because usually the big events are for charity. So think of it from the charity perspective. Because I always go, oh, it's so expensive, and you know, everything in life is expensive. But if you look at it from a charity point of view, then it feels a bit better.
Yeah. What about you, Liz?
Mine are a little. Oh, sorry, Liz. Go on.
I was just, well, although Maggie's now going to make me sound really bad, our big event is massive, and it's like the annual social gathering, and we spent a fortune last year, and it's all rubbish. So rubbish food, burgers, chips, plastic hats. So what we're going to do this year is make sure we have a really decent meal, fill her up so she doesn't want burgers and chips and donuts.
No, but that's okay, Liz. You know, because you can buy a small treat. It's not about spending lots of money. It's just about you know, not feeling too bad if you do buy a funny little bracelet or something. But no, I agree. I would probably eat before we went as well, to be honest.
So, yeah, do that. And then we'll probably just take some of our own glow sticks, because, you know, we were spending, we took 2 kids with us and spent 12 quid or something on a ridiculous little glow necklace. So, take your own things and be really cheap.
Yeah.
Actually, I was going to say, one of the things I didn't mention is glow lights. It's worth going online and buying a massive tube of, not those glow sticks that the kids like, you know, because they don't cost very, if you buy them out, they tend to cost a lot of money, whereas if you go to somewhere like Amazon, eBay, you can buy a massive big tube of them, and kind of they can just decorate themselves and their mates and you.
Yeah, and one thing I saw last year at our big events, which I thought was really clever, is someone had put in the back seat of their car, on the parcel shelf, glow sticks lit up. So because you know what it's like when you've got like 300 cars and you can't find your car in the dark.
Oh, fantastic idea!
It was brilliant. So I'm going to do that next year.
Love it. That'd be good actually for loads of events if it's in the evening, and even going to a concert. Do you know what I mean? Not that I do that very often anymore, but. That would be fun. I like that. My car.
Yeah.
What about you, Ali?
Well, mine are a lot older than yours, so they tend to kind of just run feral now. So I just think it's just a nice time for them to meet up with their mates and run around. And I was going to say about investing in some glow sticks before you go. As we were discussing, Maggie, you know, generally the displays we go to are run by the local schools or round table or whatever the charity event is. So I'm happy that they buy the burgers and things there, and yeah, so you just have fun and enjoy it.
Oh, fab. Well, hopefully this has kind of maybe given some of you ideas. I mean, you might all have some other things that you want to say, but hopefully we'll get back together and have another chat about a different random topic. Christmas is bound to be one of them, and we'll see you next time. See ya.
Cheerio.